best items I can get come out of the PvP system. We wanted players to be able to basically just focus on what they enjoy doing. If you like going and killing the big dragon to get your fat loot, by all means go and kill the big dragon. If your preference is beating someone's face in with your giant weapon or a big palm pyro, knock yourselves out. We decided that we wanted the progression in the gear to be equal but similar, meaning we wanted the power level to be relatively the same for the PvPers and the PvEers. But we wanted it to reflect the fact that it was supposed to be roughly equal progression in power, so we decided we would go with similar looks, but with enough of a difference that you could at a glance distinguish, oh, that guy's a good raider, he's got his tier 6 shoulders, or oh wow, that guy must be really awesome in the arena system, he's got the new gladiator armor. One question that I've gotten a lot since the introduction of Burning Crusade is, why do I get so much stamina on all my gear? Well, the first step in addressing the PvP versus PvE itemization issues was figuring out, well, what makes PvP not fun? What makes this problem of everyone feeling like they can't raid or they can't go into the battlegrounds without raid gear, rather? So we started looking at what we could do to address this. One of the first questions we asked ourselves was, well, okay, what makes PvP not fun? Well, walking into Elrathi Basin and having a mage AP Palm Pyro you once every 3 minutes, well, that's kind of not fun when you fall over dead instantly. So we thought, all right, let's try and give players more survivability. Getting insta-gib isn't fun. I should have hit that about a half second ago, but yeah, if the mage blows you up the second you spawn at the graveyard, you're probably not having a good time. Although I'm sure the mage is having a riot. So when we started looking at what was contributing to these factors, we started discussing it and trying to decide why people were killing each other so quickly. What could we do to address this? People tend to want to be glass cannons. They prefer to have high DPS over the ability to not die because, well, not dying is not fun unless you're killing someone. Along that way, we decided, or sort of discovered through conversation, that well, maybe the way we build items is contributing to the problem that we're seeing. Maybe we need to reevaluate our stat distribution formulas. To explain that better, I have to give you a brief insight on how we build an item. So, whenever we make an item, we start with a stat pool, which we determine with a number of factors. What level is the item? What quality is it? What slot does it go in? Is this a green quest reward dagger or an epic breastplate from Nefarian? At that point, we take our starting stat pool and we decide how we're going to break that stat pool down. The way we do that is first deciding, okay, what kind of item am I making? Is this going to be for a rogue? Is it going to be for the priests? Is it going to be for a warrior? And that gives us a baseline of, all right, these are the stats we're going to use. So for the sake of argument here, I'm going to take a theoretical item with 50 stat points. And prior to the Burning Crusade, we could take those 50 stat points and either we could give you 50 stamina, which, well, that's kind of boring. So let's break it down a little more. How about we give you 34 stamina and we give you 33 strength in addition? Well, maybe that's not as good as we want this item to be. Maybe this item needs to be really good, say a Helm of Endless Rage. So at that point, we break out the item into an additional stat point, and we give it strength, stamina, and agility. And at that point, because you have 3 different stats that we're giving you, we give you a little bit more out of your stat pool. So as you can see, the more we break out an item, the more stats it gets and the better it gets. But what this also displays is that not only did it mean that your gear was getting better and your ability to kill people was getting better, but you were proportionately becoming easier and easier to kill. And we decided, you know what, we really need to address this problem. So moving into the expansion, we decided to make it feel like you actually had to choose to give up that survivability, not that we were forcing you to give it up. So we decided we wanted to increase the amount of points that we would give you whenever we gave stamina on an item. Basically, at this point in the Burning Crusade and moving forward, if we take that same 50 stat point item, we could take it and either go, hey, all right, here's 75 stamina. Maybe that's enough to make you decide you like that over something else. Maybe it's not. So what if we break that one down and we go, here's 33 strength and 51 stamina. Now you're starting to get a little bit of DPS, but you're not sacrificing your survivability completely. Or if we want, we can break it out in a third way and go, all right, well, here's 26 agility, strength, and stamina. And granted, that's not the best item in the world now, since warriors don't like agility too much. It's still, there's still a bit more of a choice there between do I want to kill faster or do I just not want people to kill me. So at this point, we had one step in the direction of making players not kill each other quite as quickly, but we felt we needed a few more defensive stats for players. We've got stamina, but it doesn't have all of the different types of stats to put with it that say strength, attack power, crit, hit, and so on and so forth did. So we just decided we need more defensive mods, more defensive stats, more things for the people that just want to live longer. If I'm a priest, well, I need to live or else I'm not going to do my job. The other thing we needed to figure out was how do we make this good against everyone in the game? We already have armor, we have resists at that point, so we already had defensive mods that would work against people who knew what they were fighting in advance, but, well, if I'm stacking up on armor and I get nuked by the Major or the Warlock, that's not going to help me too much. So along the way, we decided, okay, we already established that we don't like dying instantly. What contributes to that? Well, when the warrior charges me and procs a Wind Fury and a Mortal Strike and a Sword Spec and they all crit and I die, that's pretty much not fun. So we decided, all right, we're going to go ahead and we'll make Resilience the anti-crit mod. But that led to some initial issues, which one was you would never really see it working. Sure, it might keep you alive. The fact that that Mortal Strike or that Fireball or that Shadow Bolt didn't crit me kept me alive, but you would never really feel that. You would never notice it. You would only really focus on the times when it didn't save you. Which was anytime you did still get crit, if you were wearing a lot of this Resilience, you would just look at that crit that killed you and go, wow, this stat just doesn't do anything for me. See, I'm still dying to crits. Another problem that the initial Resilience caused was that there are a lot of builds out there that are built around needing to crit people. If it's the Mage with Ignite or the Rogue with Seal Fate, we didn't want you to all of a sudden feel like your talent spec was just bad because I never crit people anymore. They've got so much Resilience. So we decided the solution to all of these problems was basically we would not give you quite as much on the anti-crit side, but we would, in addition, make it reduce the damage that you take anytime you are crit. At that point, the rogues and the mages felt like they still got enough crits in to make their builds feel good, and the people wearing the armor would always feel good about it, because if you did get crit by something, at least it did less damage to me. And we addressed the final issue of one of our upcoming patches that most people have given feedback about, which is, well, Resilience doesn't do anything against Warlocks and Shadow Priests, their dots still kill me. So, in one of our upcoming patches, we've included damage over time effects will now receive a damage reduction from Resilience as well. So that basically gives us the Resilience that we have today. And at this point, we felt pretty good. Okay, you know, we've got enough things here for PvP to help distinguish PvE from PvE itemization. And we felt like, all right, now let's try and brush up on some of the problems that we've been hearing from players in the past about our PvE systems, which led to the discussion of led to the discussion of a token system and how we wanted to address the token system. One of the problems I'm sure a lot of people experienced in the past was the feeling that, wow, we just keep seeing this armor that nobody needs, and our one Warlock or one Druid has already gotten this stuff. So we wanted to figure out how to address the Nemesis and Storm Rage problem that we always got brought up. All right, they get it. So we started this